Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. This past week, March 22nd, 2017, it was announced that the tomb of Jesus was reopened after being closed for 40 weeks exactly for renovation. The date it opened, March 22nd, is a date I've talked about many times in the last few years in regards to Christianity. Of course, Jesus, the central figure of the Christian religion. The date March 22nd in the year 1457 is believed to be the original publishing date of Bibles as we know them. The 66 book Gutenberg Bibles, first published March 22nd, 1457, known as 42 line Bibles. And with regards to that date, March 22nd, it's written 22/3 in most parts of the world. In Gematria, good book, sums to 223, what the Bible is commonly called. 223, also a very important number to Freemasonry. In the 66th book of the Bible, Revelation, the end book for most Bibles, it says the false Jews will rule in the end times, and their name is the Synagogue of Satan, which has that 223 Gematria. With regards to this news story coming March 22nd, 2017, that was the same day that in London there was supposedly the terrorist attack. If you watch the news media, they only showed two recurring images. One was the first responders and their sirens in front of Parliament. The other was this big red helicopter not far away. And look at what's right on the bottom of this helicopter. London Freemasons. This is on the date March 22nd, 22/3. And also, you can see the Freemason compass and square. In the end of this video, we're going to talk about what the compass and square has to do with Christianity. And again, showing us the greater connection between Freemasonry and the Bible. If you're not aware that there's a connection between Freemasonry and the Bible, you will after this video. And be sure to investigate more. The Freemasons even have their own version of the Bible. But anyhow, the date that this tomb reopened, March 22nd, a very special March 22nd in terms of date numerology. It was a date with 42 numerology. New Testament in Gematria equals 42. Just show you this real quick. New Testament equals 42. The New Testament begins with the 42 generations leading up to Jesus. Jesus who died for our sins. Sin 42. The word Freemason has Gematria 42. And so do a lot of other relevant, related words. Freemasons have built this world around us. History equals 42. Knowledge 42. They say the story of Jesus is an allegory of the sun, related to astrology. Special number 42. So anyhow, this tomb reopened on a date with 42 numerology. With regards to Jesus, we should know that the word Savior also has the Gematria 42. Read up on the 42 laws of Ma'at, the ancient Egyptians, their rules against sin, Sin 42, 42 laws. Anyway, the date was March 22nd, 2017, a date with 42 numerology, very special numbers. If you open up the Bible and you open up the NIV, the New International Version, just show you what's so interesting about that version. Holy Bible, 45 in reduction and reverse reduced, just like Gutenberg, the name of the first printed Bibles, which believed to come out March 22nd, 1457. They were called 42 line Bibles. If you write NIV, it also has that Gematria 45. The most common printed version of the Bible, the NIV, it starts Genesis 1:1, the beginning of the Bible. The beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And how does it begin? With a 223 coded right into it. This date, this number, it's not arbitrary. Let's read the reporting from the New York Times. Thousands of Christian pilgrims and members of the clergy gathered at a modest shrine in Jerusalem's Old City on Wednesday to celebrate the completion of a months-long effort hundreds of years in the making, the restoration and repair of Jesus' tomb. The shrine, known as the edicule, and in danger of collapse, had been propped up by an unsightly iron cage since the 19th century. Constructed by the Roman Emperor Constantine I in the 4th century, the shrine covers the cave in which the faithful believed Jesus was buried before his resurrection. The edifice contained in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is one of the faith's holiest sites. It was worn down by centuries of water damage, fire, candle smoke, humidity, bird droppings, human visitors, and disputes among feuding denominations, which were previously unable to agree on plans to fix the shrine. So look, the construction began, or the restoration began June 16th, 2016. They reopened it March 22nd, 2017, a span of 40 weeks. Christ equals 40, so does edicule, what they refer to it as. As for them beginning on June 16th, that date is written 16/6 or 6/16. Both numbers are very relevant. 616 is often debated to be the true number of the beast. Some people contend that Revelation 13:18 didn't mean to write 666. It meant to write 616. With regards to these numbers being attributed to Jesus Christ, I want to show you something about the name Jesus Christ in 666. Jesus Christ has gematria of 151, and 151 is the 36th prime number. If you count every number 1 through 36 and add them together, it sums to 666. And again, there's this ongoing debate between what the true number of the beast is. Is it 666 or is it 616? Anyway, very interesting that they chose June 16th to start this project. And again, it is Freemasonry, the secret society, that is responsible for this news by the numbers, these ongoing rituals by the numbers. Secret society and more have gematria of 166. Secret society also has the connection to 58 like Freemasonry, also like the word tomb. And we're talking about how the restoration of the tomb began on June 16th. Date can be written 6/16 or 16/6. So 40 weeks later, they reopen it. The date they reopened it was also a date with, not reopened it, but the date they started restoration was also a date with 58 numerology. You see? Freemasonic history is based in Solomon's Temple, ancient Israel's history. Of course, this tomb in Old Jerusalem, not too far away. As for the date they reopened it, March 22nd, 2017, that was also a date with 62 numerology. We talked about the 42 connection. It was a date with 42 numerology, also 62. Tomb of Jesus equals 62. They reopened the Tomb of Jesus on the date with 62 numerology on a March 22nd. The word Mason also has gematria of 62, so does Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, which the Jewish faith goes by, where the verse is, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. 223. So we talked about the Bible being published on this date. We should mention that in Revelation, there's a letter written to the Church of Philadelphia, which is the original capital of the United States of America, about the Synagogue of Satan. Philadelphia 223, the Synagogue of Satan 223. That's in Revelation 3. In Revelation 13:18, you have the verse about the number of the beast. It says, "Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast." 223. 223. With number of the beast in mind, let's go back to that picture from March 22nd of the Freemason helicopter, London Freemasons, compass and square on the side. The compass is set at 47 degrees, this special number. And what it truly goes back to is time. the tropics, the Tropic of Cancer, the Tropic of Capricorn, 23.5 degrees north, 23.5 degrees south, 47 degrees apart. The tropics that are used to measure time, the solstices, winter, summer. Time has this gematria of 47. The Freemasons have Euclid's 47th problem about how to establish foundation. Foundation, Euclid's 47th problem. You're supposed to create the perfectly square foundation using the pole star, which is what's at the top of the compass. That circle on the Freemason compass represents the pole star. Pole star. 47, very important to Freemasonry. With regards to the word beast, it has gematria 47. The beast rules for 42 months in the end of Revelation. The word Christian has gematria 47, and not by coincidence. The word Christians is used one time, the Christians of Antioch in the Bible. A lot of people debate on why Christian was chosen as the word for Christians. The reason why is because Freemasons are running the show. The Freemasons pride themselves on being the keepers of knowledge, the invisible architects of society. They are the authority. Notice the gematria of 47 as well as 137. The Freemason compass, it also has a 90-degree right angle, a square at the bottom. So 90 degrees plus 47 degrees, that's 137 degrees. Notice authority, 47 and 137. 137 is the 33rd prime number. 33, very special number, the number of Masonic obsession. A lot of 47 symbolism. 33, the number they truly worship and like to put in their architecture and more. So anyway, 47, this very important word. You know, many of us from a young age are taught to obey authority, to obey Christianity, to believe in Jesus, obey, gavel, judge. 47, very, very special number. If you've missed my work on Washington, D.C. and 47, you got to check it out. Mind-blowing stuff. But anyway, I just want people to understand how these numbers come together, the greater relationship and overlap between these numbers. You can see them in a false flag in London and in the reopening of Jesus' tomb all in the same day because it's Freemasonry worldwide. Freemasonry thousands of years old, older than the Bible, and been running the show for a long time. Controlling government, controlling religion, controlling money. And why? Because all three of those things control the masses. What controls the masses more than government, religion, and money? You know, so many people think God put them on this earth to read the holy book that's popular in their culture and then be a slave to tyranny. And so many people accept that worldwide because worldwide people are living under Freemasonry. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. And let me tell you what, truth seeker, you're not going to find anyone in this world more dedicated to finding out what is going on in the world, who's truly ruling over us, and who's creating all this tyranny that those of us with eyes to see do see. And I've been on this mission since I was 18. I knew numbers had a lot to do with what was going on in this world because of September 11th, 9/11, the national emergency in the United States. Just in case you're new here and never seen my work before, the Jewish faith has the holy day Tisha B'Av, which is to remember the destruction of the two temples. Tisha B'Av 9/11, the destruction of the two temples, the destruction of the two towers on 9/11. Show you something about the United States of America, Freemasonry, and Judaism. Again, Freemasonry is based in ancient Jewish history, ancient Israel's history. Look at this. Freemasonry equals 139. This tomb was just opened in Jerusalem. Jerusalem has the 139 connection, just like America. Just like Jewish state, Right now, there's a hit TV show out called Westworld about, people that are essentially created as slaves to live in a place and serve others. Westworld 139. If you study the Talmud, you see that the United States of America is Westworld. In the Talmud, it says that the purpose of the Goy, by the way, Goy has Gematria 47. Those are the people who aren't Jewish. The Jewish people created the Christian religion for the Goy. Truly, that's what they did. But if you read the Talmud, it says very clearly what the purpose of the Goy is. Goy or non-Jews, the purpose of the Goy is to be a slave race, to exist for the benefit of the Jew. The Jew isn't to work. The Jew is to live off the slave labor of the Goy. And by and large, that's what goes on with the elites. The elites don't work. The elites have more money, more resources, and they don't even work. They just siphon it all from the Goy that they have working for them, paying too much in taxes, blowing their money on stuff that's not good for them, materialism, poisonous food. This world's been built around us. And as I've explained, the United States of America is New Jerusalem. Notice the 32 and 104 connection. Notice also the 58 connection. United States has Gematria 58. America has Gematria 32. The date this country was established, 7/4/1776. 7 plus 4 plus 17 plus 76 is 104, like 10-4 message received, like Jerusalem, like hello, New Jerusalem. The United States of America was created by Jewish bankers and Freemasons from the beginning, and it's always been run by them. Think about the date of establishment, July 4th, Jewish 74, Masonic 74. Again, this is an English-speaking nation, a language that was created just before the establishment of America. And I say that all the time. Somebody just left a comment the other day. They said, English came out about 200 years before America, idiot. And I shrugged my shoulders and I said, what's 200 years? I mean, so many people that run their mouths and cast insults are just the dumbest people among us. What we're talking about is called Gematria. I mean, can you imagine watching one of my videos and then insulting me? Every video I put out is a gem like this. This is why there needs to be a war truth seeker. The filth of the world needs to be 6 feet under. The world's overcrowded. There's too many morons. There's too many believers. Not enough thinkers. We need to take this world back. What's worse than the Freemasons and Zionist Jews who run the show are the stupid people who fall for all of it, worship it, believe in it, defend it. There's people like me who've been speaking out since 9/11. For every one of me, there's about 1 million morons. And really, that's the ratio of people that need to go. For about every person that can survive, about 1 million need to be incinerated. And no, those words aren't too harsh. People aren't miracles. Most people are a joke. But anyway, this nation created by the Zionists, the Synagogue of Satan, they are the ones that have raised all these goy morons, the people who I'm now ranting about. True seeker, the Bible, it's nothing but numbers. And anyone who reads the Bible should know that. Because it's true, it's nothing but numbers. Every verse is coded, full of numbers everywhere. Not only is each verse numbered, the verses are full of numbers that seem arbitrary. It's amazing to me how many people try to read the Bible, but then never even contemplate what the numbers might mean. That's what happens when you grow up and you're taught to believe and not think. In the Bible, it reinforces in a lot of places not to think. The Bible says, don't look to the stars. Don't know anything about the numbers. Just believe, believe, believe. And, believe's got the lie right in the middle. That word with the 33 gematria, believe. So a little bit more on 223, 322, Genesis 322 in the King James Version and the New International Version. In the first half of the verse, the King James Version reads, "And the Lord God said, Behold, the man is become one of us, to know good and evil." Gematria of 322. New International Version. "And the Lord God said that the man is now become like one of us, knowing good and evil." 322. And amazingly, Genesis 3:2:2 is the 78th verse of the Bible. Genesis 78. Genesis also sums to 33. Genesis means the beginning, seed and birth, gematria of 33. So much 33 symbolism in the Bible. With regards to Genesis 3:2:2 being about good and evil, what goes on in this world, by and large, I was just ranting about, the mindless masses. What goes on in this world is people are born good. I think everyone is born good or neutral. And we all take on what's taught to us from our environment, from our peers, from our family, from our friends. In this world, because the Synagogue of Satan, the false Jews, the Freemasons run the show and they want to control, they give people so many things to poison their minds, to poison their hearts, to lead them astray. We have this world of people who care about being entertained but not knowledgeable, people who care about entertained but not caring about truth. Look at this. This earlier verse in Genesis 1:4, God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. In the NIV, that verse sums to 3:2:2, about separating the good and the bad. And Genesis 3:2:2 is again about good and bad. And really it all comes back down to this. I understood from the time I was 18 that the majority of people in this society were overwhelmingly bad. And I can't stand when I hear people say that, all people are good and all people are doing their best. I mean, it's just complete bullshit. The truth is, the majority of people are doing nothing but awful, and I don't know how they could be doing any worse. I can't stand when I hear people say that people are doing their best. Where? Where do you see people doing their best? Maybe here on this channel you see me working my ass off for free, giving my own life away, but who's really doing that? Almost no one. Most people are just worrying about themselves, trying to entertain themselves, tuning out the truth, tuning out all their responsibility as living, breathing souls at this moment in time. I mean, nobody even sees where the world's being taken right now. War, destruction of the environment, destruction of every inch of this earth. The entire oceans are polluted. The air all full of toxic chemicals. You can't find any ground soil that's not contaminated with all sorts of chemical filth that has been spread by all the consumerism and needless destruction of this world, which so many people participate in by ignoring what's going on in the world. The majority of people have been led astray. Their behavior is awful. They are a virus. They are a plague. They are helping destroy this world. And if you're someone who says that people are doing their best, well, you're part of the plague. That's for sure. Almost no one's doing anything. That's the truth. Almost no one is good. That is the truth. Yeah, people are born good and people could become good again, but most people in this world are vile, selfish, terrible. It's hard to find good people. You can find good people that are fake in their goodness. They'll smile to you and say things you want to hear, but behind your back, just the opposite. So again, a little more 322. So many people associate this number with skull and bones. You hear most of these fake truth channels, they see through 322, all that they can say is skull and bones, not realizing that skull and bones is just one of many Masonic orders, and it's all about the number 223. 322, 223, reflections of each other. The Jewish belief system, Judaism, in satanic gematria sums to 322. Think about that in light of the Synagogue of Satan, 223, the false Jews. Skull and bones, that identifies by 322. Their symbol is skull and crossbones, 223. Big number in the history of this Masonic world, especially the United States of America. That verse we looked at in the New International Version, I just want to point out its difference with the King James Version. In the King James Version, it's not 223 reduced, it's 222. It's one off. There's actually a rule in gematria, and out of the 2,000 plus videos I've made, this is only the third time I've ever talked about it probably, and I've never observed it myself. But when I was first studying and reading about gematria, there's a rule in gematria where if a number is one off, it can still be seen as a match. And I've never observed that because that seems like too loose of a rule to me. But when you get to 222 and 223, you can start to go, oh, well, okay, I could see where maybe that rule's observed about one off when you're talking about bigger numbers. But I've never observed that, and I still won't. I'm not even going to mention it in my book because to me, it's a lot more easy to explain exactness. And with regards to Jesus and the tomb where we began, again, Jesus 74, cross 74, Messiah 74, Gospel 74, Jesus' story or his parables, the spiritual tellings 74. They say the English translation of Jesus is Joshua, which is 74. The Greek spelling is Yeshua because there's no J's, 74. Out of the 50 states in the United States of America, only one sums to 74. It's the 33rd state, Oregon. Think about Jesus on the cross. This exactness is what makes gematria powerful to me, and that's why I stick to that. But there really is a rule out there where if words are a number off, they can still be seen as a match. So just something to know. That first verse in the King James Version also has the 411 coding. That's a number of Freemasonry. The King James Bible, very Masonic, the most Masonic version outside of the Freemason Bible. The 777 gematria, very interesting. 7 represents complete. It took God 7 days to make the earth. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. On the 7th day, he rested. Skull and Bones, they're going to turn 185 years old this year. And what I thought about with regards to Skull and Bones was Papa Bush and his son Bush Jr. Shrub. Remember, Skull and Bones equals 41. And 41, his father, George Herbert Walker Bush, the 41st president, he gave the speech on September 11th, 1990, about the New World Order, a world freer of terrorism. Then his son, who would become president 11 years later, was president when 9/11 happened. Here's what I want to show you about the World Trade Centers. World Trade Center equals 185. So does Solomon's Temple. And remember, Tisha B'Av is about the remembrance of the destruction of the two temples. The destruction of the two temples. And it equaled 9/11. The World Trade Centers went down on 9/11. Solomon's Temple, World Trade Center, this overlap. Skull and Bones turning 185 years old this year. Hold on, Truth Seeker. See if I can pull up a post here real quick that I did recently that's related to this. Just a little more information. Again, Tisha B'Av, 9/11, just like division. September 11th was all about divide and conquer. Freemason mottos, divide and conquer, order out of chaos. World Trade Center, 185. Solomon's Temple, 185. Iraq, in Satanic Gematria, is 185. That's interesting because they say the Babylonians destroyed Solomon's Temple, part of Tisha B'Av. The Babylonians are where Iraq now is. And think about how we needlessly went into Iraq, destroyed their country. The first thing that happened when we invaded Iraq, if you remember, you can go back and check the news story. The first thing that happened when we invaded the country was all of Iraq's museums got looted. And they said all this biblical old world history was lost overnight. All of Iraq's most important museums, which had some of the treasures of this world, were looted right at the beginning of the war. And let's not forget that Operation Shock and Awe began on March 22nd, 322, with George W. Bush, the member of Skull and Bones, as the president. Secret Society also has the connection to 185. Skull and Bones, the Secret Society, turning 185 years old this year. Annuit Coeptus, 185. The first Gulf War lasted exactly 47 days. That was before 9/11. Iraq also has the 47 connection, like Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein, a Freemason, a puppet, part of the New World Order agenda, something a lot of people don't understand. Pretty sure Saddam never died. I'm pretty sure his sons never died. Do you remember when they killed his sons and made that a front page story, showing the sons all bloody and murdered? I remember social media was new. Facebook had just come out. People were going crazy. Loving that. Loving seeing these people get murdered in these needless wars. Think about how sick America is, the Christian nation, where almost everyone's been led to evil by the Synagogue of Satan. You know, it's sick, truth seeker. Saddam Hussein also has that gematria of 137, like the compass and square, the 33rd prime. Solomon's Temple. I almost overlooked it. Solomon's Temple goes back to 223. You know? Freemason motto, measure twice, cut once. That's what they did with restoring Jesus' tomb. They picked the perfect dates, the perfect tribute in time. The man blamed for the destruction of Solomon's Temple, the leader of the Babylonians, Nebuchadnezzar, 166. Remember Jesus' tomb on June 16th? Twin Towers, September 11th, Annuit Coeptus, Secret Society, Tetragrammaton. They say that September 11th could be Jesus' true birthday. September 11th is New Year's Day of the Old World Coptic calendar, the Old World Christian calendar. Also, Donald Trump, the current president, the Jesuit, the psychopath, from the day he published his book, January 15th, 2000, where he predicted September 11th, the World Trade Center's collapse, and it being blamed on Osama bin Laden, Donald Trump got all that right in his book, January 15th, 2000. That book was called The America We Deserve. That came out 888 weeks before he became president. 888. Donald J. Trump, 888. The Art of the Deal, 888. Measure twice, cut once. The Synagogue of Satan. So I'll link all these posts below, Truth Seeker. A lot of information here. A lot of knowledge. Things you want to know. My work on 9/11. Got so many videos on 9/11. This past year, big tribute to 9/11 in Iran. All of these things are interrelated. September 11th had a lot of parallels to Jesus Christ. Those buildings existed for 33 years. New York City on the 74th meridian. Look, those buildings, the World Trade Centers look like giant 11s. Jesus equals 11 and 74. The World Trade Centers were on the 74th meridian in New York, the 11th state. They came down on the 11th day of the month, the first day of the Coptic New Year. Coptic equals 66. And if you sum every number 1 through 11, it totals 66. Some people say that's Jesus' real birthday. The Bible, 66 books in length. The final book, Revelation, about the return of Jesus. Revelation equals 121, which is the square root, or the square root of 121 is 11. You know? 66th book, when you sum 1 through 11, it totals 66. The square root of 121 is 11. The return of Jesus. You know? If you don't know about PNAC, the Project for a New American Century, they said we needed a new Pearl Harbor for the new 21st century to catapult a international agenda in the Middle East and a domestic agenda in the United States of America. Think about, we've been at war, we've been building a police state ever since 9/11, New Year's Day of the Coptic calendar. Project for a New American Century was the think tank that became the George W. Bush administration. See my video on Paul Wolfowitz and his birthday being 58 days from September 11th. Speaking of which, George W. Bush was the president. George W. Bush, 58. From Bush's birthday to September 11th, was 68 days. And Bush was 55 years old in 2001. He turned 55 July 6, 2001. He was born July 6, 1946. Date with 33 numerology. Bush was 55 when September 11th happened. Number of Satan. Think about the Synagogue of Satan, Skull and Bones, the 322, Judaism. From his birthday, July 6th, 2001 to September 11th was a span of 68 days. He graduated from Skull and Bones, becoming a bonesman in 68, bonesman 33. 33 years later, he would become president. In 1968, the year he graduated, 911 made the national emergency dialing code. World Trade Center construction began. And with regards to this nation, the USA, I want to show you one last thing about USA and September 11th. I need Francis Bacon gematria. The acronym USA in Francis Bacon is 119. The date you can write September 11th, 11/9. It was also a date with 41 numerology. Check out the date numerology of September 11th, 2001. 9 plus 11 plus 2001 is 41. George H.W. Bush, the father, the 41st president, who gave the speech on 9/11, 1990, 11 years to the day, the Skull and Bones member. They blamed the attack on Al-Qaeda, the boogeyman, 41. But anyway, USA 41 and 119. September 11, 2001. They said that the Zionists were over there recording the attack. The people that have the Star of David flag in Israel, Star of David, the Zionist nation of Israel recognized with a 33-member vote by the United Nations in 47. Star of David, All-Seeing Eye, 119. Master Plan, 119. In the Kabbalah cipher, Christian is 119. In the Kabbalah cipher, good book is 74. You know, like Masonic, like Jewish, like Jesus. Interesting that Jesus is 68 in the Kabbalah cipher in light of what we were just talking about with the parallels to 911. Let's not forget, though, that CIA is 68, and George H.W. Bush's father was the head of the CIA. George H.W. Bush, who was the head of the CIA, his father was Prescott Bush, who started the early groundwork for the CIA becoming a reality, which was created by the 33rd President Truman. But anyway, H.W. Bush was head of CIA before being vice president to Reagan, before becoming president, before having his son become president. But just think about his son, Skull and Bones, 68. So we covered a lot there, Truth Seeker. I'm going to link all these posts down below. A lot of information to share with your friends and family. And again, I make these videos for you to share them. You're welcome to mirror them. I hope that everyone takes this knowledge and shares it with their friends and family. If you're a Christian and you don't know what to think about this, I mean, talk about it with your friends and family. And if you see the people around you just shutting down and dismissing it, what I would do is realize that those aren't the people to be around. Most people in this world are weak, cowardly believers, next to worthless, and they don't have any intellect or courage to confront, the lies that have been told to them. Do you want to be one of those people? Most people do choose to be that. And that's why, that's why they call us Goy, because Goy are weak, stupid, easily ruled over. I might be a Goy in blood, Truth Seeker, but I'm no Goy in spirit. And I wish there were more people like me, because if there were, we would have took this world back in 2001, and everybody'd be better off. Trying to create some more truth seekers and truth speakers out there. Until next time.